This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hey there, I love it. It's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, and it's the last show of the year. Let's see, this is show number 80, season 4, episode 6. This is our 80th live show in a row. Streaming worldwide on over 100 outlets around the world, iTunes 247, streaming it there out of Franklin, Tennessee, with over 11 million views and counting, just out of Franklin, Tennessee, and around the world. I couldn't be happier for the show because, one, it's all women except for me and Howard. So we don't really count because it's all about you women. And I love what Rebel has done with the new opening and everything like that. I couldn't be happier with that. So I've been waiting for this show because I wanted to have these young women on there. It's always about women empowerment. Those females, those directors, those writers, those producers, and those actresses. This is really, really important because when you're starting something new, with out of Knoxville, Tennessee, or if it's with out of Nashville, Tennessee, or stuff that's going on, whether it's Switzerland, whether it's Portugal, whether it's Germany, everything, it's really, really important. So all the way from Brentwood, Tennessee, no, not Angela, Howard Wiggins, Dapper, Howard. I've been waiting for that, which is a good time. And he's at home still. He's not at the party. He's at home right now. I'm sure he's going to take off later and head someplace. See, he's nodding. And the other place forward, Brentwood, Tennessee also. Didn't know I was going to have two people from Brentwood, Tennessee on. Angela. I don't like this girl. She made me, she's fascinating to me. I enjoy our talks. I like it when we talk to each other on phone because we can talk about movies. We can talk about TV shows. We can talk about those producers, directors, those digital creators, because the world has changed when it comes to podcasting, TV and radio show now. And she'll talk about what she has on Amazon, but she's done a lot of things. I just find her fascinating. I don't even think she's told me her whole story yet. Matter of fact, she hasn't yet. I know she hasn't. That's why I wanted her on. I actually had to beg her to make sure she was coming on. Not really. But all the way from, let's see, Portugal, we talked briefly. And I like this young lady. She was dying to be on our show. It's 1 o'clock in the morning where she is. No surprise, we've done these shows before. But I wanted to make sure we talked about her movie Glow because not only is it a great documentary, but it's important to remember these icons, whether it's here in the U.S. or mainly outside the U.S. We're going to talk about her story in a minute, Gabrielle. But Felicia, she's interesting. She has this great accent that I just love listening to. Totally Southern. She's a mom of 3. I love her friend Sunshine, really named Dawn, and I like what she's starting to create in Knoxville. And I haven't been to Knoxville, Howard, so I can't wait to go next year. So we're going to bring the gang, and some of the gang's not even on here yet. I'm waiting for Terri to come on, and Linda Steele's going to see if she makes it. Tasha's out in the studio. Who's it? From Houston.
Rachel.
I can't even remember her name, Howard. Rachel. She's out with the girl. It's just the day after. She'd be upset if I couldn't remember her name. But it's one of these things. This is why it's important to be on Movie Reviews and More, bringing all these people together to what they're doing. And you know what? We have to start outside the U.S. first. Gabrielle, tell us who you are, what you've been working on, and talk about the movie Glow, because it's really important for people to know this young lady that you did a doc on.
Yes, thank you. What exactly you want to know? I mean, it's like, yes, there is this movie Glow. It's around, actually it's around 2 great women. It's circling around them. One was a fashion pioneer, and the other one, very young lady on the street. She was, it's almost like, let's say, Pretty Woman, but by two women. And she was discovered by this fashion pioneer on the street walking, and she made a career as model, actress, became renowned, and then she lived really on the fast lane. And I think she was really a rebel. She risked a lot, and people, her friends, they tried to kind of like, how do you say that, to save her, but she didn't let her. She just, she lived, she loved her freedom. And so it's also, this film is also around, I think, the pain. What do you do when you love somebody and you cannot save this person who just is going on and wants her freedom? And then also in the background, of course, is the question, what does freedom mean? It's like a topic in the back. And is our belief or understanding of freedom really, what does it mean if somebody decides to be free to destroy yourself, right? It's like, these are questions and what is the society doing about it? So, but it is basically, it's around this touching love and friendship relationship, and about Irene Staub. Her name is Irene Staub, Lady Shiva, who died young on the motorcycle with 37. And I think she was a very touching personality. She looked fabulous. She was blonde, like you, Felicia. She was blonde, and she was kind of a bombshell. And some people perhaps, were kind of just impressed by her looks, but there was much more about her. And it was also these cliches about her, which are really, I think, interesting to see when you see the film, how this is like breaking up. Yeah, we go beyond some cliches, which I think are still very strong about women. I just give one example. She had the chance to shoot, how do you say that, to have a photo call with Newton. He's very famous. I mean, Ada Newton, right? And she didn't feel respected in the shooting as a woman. And so she just rebelled and said, I'm not going to do it. And she kind of like, she put that above her career. And there are different ways to look at it, right? It's like, how should you, yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of tough. But in a way, I also admire it. So, and I ask myself, yeah, how to deal with this kind of things, and what does make success and what not? That's another question in the film. So it's not just, it's not a biographic documentary. It's not. It's really more circling around. We are meandering with her, with Irena and Ursula, this pioneer, and we get to know about her life, but also about other things. I don't know. Was this too much? And yeah, the film had the opening in the Laemmle in Los Angeles. That's where Brian and me met on this occasion at the Laemmle Royal and Laemmle Santa Monica theatrical opening by First Run Features. That's the film distributor. And I'm really thankful for that. And now it went online on Amazon and for streaming in United States and Canada.
And now we're going to take a look at this. Glow. I love this documentary.
So eine Frau hat es nur einmal gegeben. Das ist so eine Ikone.
Die Leute sind stehen geblieben und haben ihr angeschaut.
Ich habe die Lady Shiva oder eben die Irene immer sehr bewundert. Sie hat eine Kraft, die sie ausstrahlt, die man sonst nicht gekannt hat.
Von Mick Jagger hat sie 50 Grossen bekommen, die Hälfte hat sie mir geschenkt. Sie ist mit dem obersten Arzt oder mit dem Strassenwischer, sie hat die gleich behandelt.
Wenn ich es probiere nachempfinden, ist klar, die Irene einerseits wirklich intellektuell, geistvoll und dann dem gegenüber die Prostituierte, wie das die Irene zusammengebracht hat, das ist mir eigentlich ein Rätsel.
Die damalige Zeit war eben so, dass du eigentlich in alles daran verliebt warst. Sie hat sich aufgeführt wie eine Hyäne, wenn ich irgendwie mit jemand anderem das meine. Wenn sie war, hast du nicht gedacht, dass sie so unsicher ist. Ich habe einfach Tiere mitgenommen zum Fellini. Ich habe gedacht, wenn er sie gesagt, dann ist schon alles gemacht. Er war begeistert, aber er hat gesagt, ich lebe nicht lang, 2 Jahre maximal. Sie hat sich nie wirklich heben können. Was mir jetzt leid tut, hat sie nicht ausleben können. Dieser Frau wäre jetzt die ganze Welt Füße wegen.
Angela, I got to start with you on this. When you see a film like this, because there's so many great documentaries out there, you never know what's going to turn someone on, what's going to get their attention when it comes to this. So the first thing I always say, I'm like, let me see this. I don't want to see the trailer usually. Just let me see the movie. Did a woman direct it? Did she write it to produce it? Is it an engaging story? That's what I really want to know. So you, as that director, the producer, that actress, what gets your attention when you see something like this, and what turns you on when it comes to your films and your TV series?
Well, what I liked about to me, it's like I love the film noir aspect of it, and the fact that you're really talking about a human, and that gets lost in translation sometimes. People forget that I modeled for over 40 years. Over 40 years, yeah. And it's a kind of an industry that will eat you up, chew you out, or make you a star. And most people fail. It's the human toll that doesn't get told with these things. And I felt like I could see, I know people like her, and you see people like her, they're beautiful, they're alluring, they can't be captured, but they're going to be destroyed. And that's the sad thing to watch, but that film noir aspect would have sucked me in, but just the story would have taken me in, just alone, because it's not an easy business, and being beautiful is not the answer. There's a lot of strength that goes into that modeling world, and in the time that she was working, it was brutal. It was brutal, and I don't know. I'm dying to see it now. I didn't get a chance to watch it beforehand, but now it's just moved to the top of my doc list because I love documentaries. I love the truth. I live my life in the footnote. So documentaries to me are just an amazing thing. Congratulations. It just looks wonderful.
And segue into what you're doing now also, because that's important.
Well, I've got a couple of documentaries that we're waiting for financing on. One of them is concentrating on a different aspect of women. One is adult film stars. What people perceive these women to be and who they are two different things. And they have great stories to tell, why they do it, and how they're doing it. But they're people. They get dehumanized because of what they do, but they're just like everybody else. They're moms, they're their wives, their lovers, their girlfriends, their whatever. But there's another side to all of this that people don't get to see. The other documentary that we're working on and we're waiting on is a friend of mine won a few Grammys. And his life story is incredibly interesting as to where he started and to where he's going. But there's so much out there. I've got a TV series on Amazon now, but it's a dark comedy for lack of something else, but it involves family dynamics and people, and it's just fun. This is an interesting time. There's so much that can be had because we have all these streaming and you can be overwhelmed by it. Then it's just making yourself heard. And I wish there was more, in your case, Gabrielle, I wish there was more opportunities for people to see documentaries. They deserve to be higher up on the pecking order than they are. And it seems like the pecking order is TikTok, which I could live without. I'd rather see something with some depth and some intelligence and some feeling. So kudos to you for doing it, and you kind of inspire me to keep going with it. Just sometimes I think it's shoveling against the tide, but thank you for showing me it can be done.
Oh, girl, great! Thank you for saying that. I must say that I love all kind of films. And I think the inspiration is also between documentary to fiction, fiction to documentary, vice versa, that both have great sides and that they can inspire each other. So it's not, I love films which have both aspects. So Glow, some parts are really mise en scène. And I love fiction film that have this energy and this vitality of documentary, also these surprising moments. So this is something which really kicks me on. But thank you for what you said. Sounds great. It inspires me to go on. It's
well, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about that. You're supposed to be inspired from all of these things like that, right, Felicia?
Yes, absolutely. Can
Felicia,
I speak
talk
to
about
my
who you are.
inspiration? Okay.
Go ahead. Talk about your inspiration.
I'm Felicia, pronounced Felicia, as Gabrielle said, which I love that because that's how they pronounce it in Europe, Felicia Andes. And I'm a mom and an actress and super, super grateful wife. I've done a whole bunch of commercials, some print, my first feature film recently as a reporter. So I'm extremely blessed. But to speak to the inspiration of Glow, wow, I applaud you for tackling something, with really sensitive subject matter, Gabrielle. I love that. I was immediately intrigued with it. There were a couple of moments, I don't know if you guys felt this way, but she gave me some Marilyn Monroe vibes for in a couple scenes. And I feel like when you rip that mask off of them and you see their human soul bleeding and screaming out for help, who cannot relate to that? We can relate. We feel their pain. So, wait to see this.
Well, that's what it's all about. And Angela's trying to catch up.
Yeah. But with Irina, really one aspect I think which is important also as woman, she seemed very strong. She was tall, she was beautiful, she was strong, and she has hidden her fragility. Because when you show your fragility, a lot of times people just start to pick on you. She knew that. She knew this. And so she was very good in hiding her fragility. You couldn't get really close to her in the film. You can see that how she's hiding and I think we can relate to it in some ways because we all are more or less in tough in a tough business, right? In a tough world anyway. And so how much can we open up? And she was very good in it. You couldn't get really close to her. And still, she was sometimes like a very fragile human being. And then you could feel it, right? And that's, I think she didn't learn really to be aggressive enough to defend herself, or perhaps not aggressive because she didn't want to be aggressive, but she didn't learn how to deal with this. So what gives you the option to deal with it? That's also a question in the film. Who can deal with it and who not? What I personally think it's a certain self-confidence, but where do you get it in this world?
Well,
so yeah.
I can speak to that a little bit. I was really fortunate to work with Dolly Parton on her mountain movie magic musical film last Christmas. And she comes to mind when you talk about that type of strength. You know, how strong can you be, or how kind, and where is the balance? Because, you know, there's moments, she's an angel. I love her, but there's moments that she has to come right out and say, I'm not going to let these big corporate giants bully me. No. You know, there's moments when she has to be really tough and she has to put her foot down, but she has this elegance and this way about her that's really effective. And she doesn't come off mean. She maintains her genuine self that we all love about Dolly. And yet she still has that strength that you're talking about. And I think that's why I respect her so much.
Howard, you get a chance to tell your Dolly stories, don't you?
I tell it all the time. So,
go ahead, give us one. She segued into it for you.
I knew Dolly right when she started singing with Porter Wagner. And my dad had Grammar Guitar Company, and I met her on the first publicity shots at the Porter Wagner show. And we spoke to each other every Saturday night up until 9 to 5 because she did the Opry before she went to Hollywood. But I had a car accident and I broke my neck and I cut my ear. And Dolly came to see me in the hospital. And she had her sister Stella and a girlfriend with her. And there were 2 hospital chairs on the side of the bed. And my parents were sitting at the foot of the bed. Dolly comes in the room. She stands in the corner. Dad said, "Do you want to sit on the foot of the bed?" I said, "Dolly, sit on the foot of the bed so I can tell everybody had Dolly Parton in my bed." And then I was in traction too, so I couldn't move my head because I had broken my neck. So she stood in the chair over my head. So that's a view that not many men get to see. So I remember that too. And then I had a male nurse that came in and he took my vital signs. And then before he left, he forgot whatever he took because it got him all upset. And then my dad walked them all to the elevator. And my dad came back and said there was this young couple about to get in the elevator. And his girlfriend or wife or whatever pulls them in and said, "You're not getting in that elevator," you know. So, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember one time behind the stage, some guy made some kind of pass to Dolly. I didn't know what he said, but I saw her put him right in his place. He wasn't angry and he turned around and left, which most guys get angry. And he didn't. She just knew how to handle it. But I think it's that good old country knowing people and who to trust and just hard living that she had to start off with. She knows who's honest and who's not, who's real and who's not. And she can just detect that just right off. And she knows how to handle people. I'm sure she handled herself as a little child. So I have great respect for Dolly, as you well know.
All right, so Howard, talk about where you come from and what room, and is that same vase?
Yeah, I didn't have time to change where I was last year, but that vase used to belong to the last emperor of China. It is part of a pair, and I have the magazine from the house it came out of before. And it's I'm a sucker for anything beautiful. If it's beautiful, I gotta have it. And I don't care what it takes to get it, I'm going to get it. So that was one of the things I got, and I don't regret it one bit. So,
Terri, we finally have seen him in the same room once. We've never seen Howard in the same room. I don't even know how many rooms he has in his house. He's never been in the same room until today.
But you did get me in the same room as last time.
For once, all those shows. All right, so Terri,
yeah,
tell everybody who you are, because I know you were busy doing stuff in California. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I got a work call, so I'm sorry. I'm joining a little bit late today, but Brian, this is our last show of the year. That's kind of exciting. Like how many shows that we've done. I've been with Brian for over 9 years. I do I do the red carpet hosting for Movies Review, all the celebrity events. I'm a fitness competitor. I'm an actor and artist. I also work with orthopedics, so I am very, very busy girl. So nice to meet everybody.
And you know what? So Rebel, let's show a couple photos of things. Let's surprise a couple people with what we have. Remember this photo?
Sunshine. Yes, we just met you. That's awesome.
They came out of no place. Angela, you remember that photo?
Oh yeah. Love that jacket.
I love the shoes. And then Mike was there in the middle. And then Sunshine. I mean, I took them because this is a strange thing. And I love this. I show everybody this coat. And they all want to know, where do you get it? That's what they want. She's fashionable. And I said, we got to take photos of these things. She goes, why are you going to take a photo of my coat? Because they're not going to believe I'm going to have it. Now you know why I took photos of it? So Terri, I had no idea we were going to have almost an all Tennessee show with someone in Portugal, Spain. Couldn't pick that one, you know, but it is. And let's talk about that. What Gabriel said is really important. It's not easy. Hey, Rebecca from Montreal. We got to say that. Well, she's outside of Montreal, but we have to say hi to Rebecca. She chimes in every week, which is great. Gallery Perkins out of there. So it's always about those artists painting these great sculptures and paintings. And Howard being that art collector, these things are important, aren't they, Howard?
Absolutely.
And to talk about this, what made you want to be that producer? And how tough was it, to get in to do things? Because there's a story that you don't always get a chance to tell.
Oh, you know, I go back to, like I said, I like to live my life in the footnotes. I'm the oldest of 10 children. So if I wanted something, you damn well better be sure you worked for it and you got it. And I did my time, you know, eating top ramen and frozen peas and, you know, just always looking for something creative and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to be. And, you know, I fell into modeling. I fell into acting. I practiced law in the entertainment field for a long time. I owned an art gallery. I kept searching for something that was creative and for a voice. And I started getting involved in writing and producing because this is not an easy business. And no matter how strong you are, and I like to think I'm shy, but that's another story. You have to make your own openings and you have to make your own careers. And like I said, early on, I've done everything from a TV guide route to being a roofer to being a lawyer, whatever. But you have to make your own opportunities. And writing and producing was an opportunity. At a certain age, acting for women is not all, you know, there aren't that many openings. I felt like, you know, I know I'm good. I have to believe that or else you can't be in this business. I know that I'm good, but there was not the opportunities that I was looking for. I didn't want to practice law anymore, but I still had a creative edge. So I said, you know what, I'll make my own. So I started writing. I started with a 10-minute play and that rolled into a couple of other scripts. And then that rolled into Always Here, which is, you know, I wrote it, I direct it, I produce it, and I'm one of the main characters in it. But I've already got 2 other projects going forward. You've got to make your own opportunity. You've got to learn to stand up for yourself. And that's how I've always been. It's like, don't tell me no, because even if I didn't want it, now I definitely want it. And if you're going to stand in my way and you have nothing to contribute to me or can't, you know, there's nothing constructive that you're going to give to me, I'm going to keep moving on. And I'll live with all my scars because that's that's life. God gave me a soul for a reason, and that's to hold those scars. But you've got to make your own opportunities, and that's why I got into this, why I got into directing and producing and writing, and still keep my hand in acting. But you've got to make your own opportunity. That's what I do.
She reminded me when I first met her actually I feel like it was last year, but it was this year, of her toughness. She reminded me of you. And Terry's always with me. She doesn't usually miss out on things, but she was stuck in California doing stuff with her family. And I go, this is interesting because I see that toughness there. And then I saw sort of like a bright light with sunshine and Felicia. And I thought that was interesting. And then Howard just happened to be there, and everybody always gravitates towards him. So that's fascinating to see. And I just want to sit in the chair and just take notes. So that's why I have these photos of everybody that they don't always know that I'm taking, because we don't always have that photographer around. But you want to capture those moments because they're golden moments. Like taking a shot of her shoes. Those shoes were fabulous. And I knew women would love those shoes.
If I took down this green screen, you would be in my shoe closet, but I'm not going to do that. So,
hey, it's not like I haven't been in one. One of our other co-hosts, Linda Steele, who was supposed to be on tonight, Terry, she got busy with stuff. Her shoe, what has she got? Almost 3,000 shoes in her closet. I've actually went in there. One of my friends said, "What are you doing in her shoe closet?" And they didn't know I was at her house. So I go, how could you not be in her shoe closet with all these shoes? A lover of shoes. That's why I took the shot.
I have to show you my Christmas present. Hold on.
Oh, shoot. I can't wait to see this.
I love those.
Oh, God.
Uh-huh.
Can you see the sparkles?
Yes, those are beautiful.
Linda Steele would go nuts over those.
Those are I would go nuts over them. I would love those kind of shoes. You know that, right?
My daughters.
That's funny.
Thank you, Grayson and Hannah.
Mine's boots.
oh, hold on. I have my subordinate.
I saw her looking over her shoulder like, I got to take this down now because there's a bunch of shoes over there. I can only imagine what she has. I could only imagine. Felicia, see what you did? But it's not the first time it's happened like this.
Oh, Brian, I have all kinds of different shoes, boots, heels.
I can't see them.
What do you got? Are they see-through?
No, they're green. They're green Swarovski boots.
Oh,
wow. So the green screens that let me show through.
Oh, wow. I have the diamond silver ones.
Of course you do.
I have gold ones.
I love them.
So Gabrielle, see how us nutty Americans can be, even though we love European culture and everything.
Ooh,
See,
those are awesome. They're pink.
Trust me, I have the YSLs. The YSL came out with a boot a few years ago. We're getting way off track. My ex-husband purchased them for me. They were $12,000. Those boots never go out. If they go out, it's dry, it's flat. No one's gonna step on my toe, and you're gonna carry me because they ain't touching the ground, you know. But no, I've got my love of shoes and hats knows no bounds. So
you did say that when I met you. You definitely did say that you had that pair of shoes.
Well, the funny thing too is when I was practicing law, I had clients who were, and I have friends who are shoe designers. So the other thing that I have in this closet are shoes that were runway shoes. That meant there were only one pair. And so I've got this really cool collection of pretty amazing shoes. And one shoe I missed out on was the Chanel with the 45 revolver. I was third in line. I was number 3. And I was like, damn, man, I just, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. But everybody has to have a guilty pleasure, and that's mine. So thankfully I've had husbands that indulge in that. And I have tons of sneakers because I was a personal trainer for a long time. So figure it out.
Terri, that's why I found her fascinating. She's one of the few women that I've met that's wore many hats, but also been to the same places that I've been to. In that aspect, she's the only one. And I think that's why we got along, because I find her still fascinating. And I love that. And I also think she's a great trailblazer for those women coming up who need to know how to make a film. Maybe raise that money, because it's not easy to raise money when it comes to stuff. Huh, Gabrielle? It's not easy to raise money for documentaries, is it?
Mm-mm.
No.
I'm not commenting on that.
Yeah.
Art
Well, good
house,
thing.
you know, art house today has a small problem, but it will come back. It will come back. Absolutely. It's like with good books, with good music, with great things. It's a crisis, but it will be rain-weighted, and we will be part of it. It's so important that the cinemas are not dying. So I see, of course, I think in cinema categories. I mean, the art house movies, right? It's like you still call it like that in the United States, right? Or not?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think in the United States it's more in crisis than in Europe, but it's also in crisis in Europe. So yeah. So talking about money. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, what were a few
Well,
films that got you into being that filmmaker? What are some of the films that turned you on?
Sorry?
What's some of the films that made you want to be that producer and director?
No. That's always a hard question because it's something which is really changing over time. So I was very influenced by so-called art house film, which are today historical films. For example, I loved Cassavetes. I don't know if one still knows. I mean, Cassavetes had a problem, I think, with his films, with some in the United States, but he made wonderful films in my opinion. He's one of them, but there are others like even Godard, early films of Godard, or Buñuel, or somebody like Vera Kitilova, a Czechian filmmaker nobody knows today, but she was a great female director. She is a great female director, who then couldn't really follow up her career, like a lot couldn't. So there are many, many films that influence me, and it's still going on till today. I'm really kind of like, how to say that? I see a lot of films, not like you, Brian, not like you, because I try to do films, right? I'm working on doing films, but I see also a lot of films. So, for example, we have the European Film Academy. That's a little bit like the Academy in the United States. So every year there are like 60 to 80 films we have to see only from Europe and things like that. So, and we constantly, there are great films, but I must say it becomes more and more difficult because there are so many. It's an ocean. And how do we deal with that? How do we deal with it? I don't know. It's about recommendation, or how do it's really, it has become difficult. But I just love great films. I love good films. And I also sometimes love bad films, just to have a laugh at it, I must say.
Well, when it comes to bad films, see these glasses? That's why I wear glasses now from all the bad films that I've had to see. So I don't mind torturing myself. If I ever go blind, you know why. From watching all the bad films that I've had to see. I would never subject you guys or my audience to that because of that. So with that, that's why I'm always recommending good films, whether it's TV shows, movies, because I'm as you women or love shoes, I'm a movie whore. You give me a movie, I'll watch it. Instead of going to a party, I'll watch the movie. I'll be the guy sitting over there in the corner. This is a great movie. I got first dibs of seeing it. Howard knows that. When we went to Nashville Film Festival, we saw, I mean, the Gloria Gaynor doc. I mean, it was good to see people there, but we're one of the few that really seen it still. I know no one else, Howard, that's seen Gloria Gaynor doc. Nobody. How sad is that? And when I'm watching movies outside the U.S. that are great films, I immediately want to turn them on to people in the U.S. because a good film is a good film, no matter where it came from. Whether it's Fellini, was it Cassavetes, and John Cassavetes made excellent films. Excellent films. So I always want to make sure that people can see these films again. So when I'm thinking of films, Angela, what's some of the films that you were thinking that got you into that Mine was It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Remember that movie?
Okay, I lived in the desert near where that was filmed. And this is a side story, but a friend of mine is friends with Stanley Kramer's daughter. They found the actual crash site from the movie because they never collected the cars. The cars just went over the side of the cliff. He went in there and he pulled out pieces of the cars and he turned them into jewelry.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I love that.
I actually have a few pieces from that, but
of course you do. What don't you have?
Oh, I don't know.
See,
You know,
she's got everything. A woman who has everything. I like that.
you know, well, like I said, the thing about it is life is not meant to be, it's not a spectator sport. So it was like, okay, take the opportunity, run with it. One of the first movies, and it freaked me out, but it sort of gets you going, was Blue Velvet.
Oh God, yeah, I saw that in college.
There was something about that movie, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was that voice that Dennis Hopper had, or the fact that Isabella Rossellini, and it's going to sound really dumb, but in that there's a moment in that movie where Isabella Rossellini is stark naked, no makeup, no nothing, no anything, and she was proud of who she was, and it showed. I mean, there's a confidence that came with that, but there was something about that movie that sort of got me going. And then I was fortunate to be living in New York, and living in New York, you have opportunity to see so many foreign films, so many avant-garde movies, so many even off Broadway. Those are the kind of things that inspire you. But the one thing that inspired my life to consider the arts was I was about 16, 17 years old, and I happened to be at a graduate English class meeting, salon, and Eli Wiesel was speaking, and I was sitting in the corner hiding because had no right to be there. I've never met a man with a more gentle soul and a more loving heart who reached out and said to me, "Come and sit by my side."
Wow.
And it inspired me that someone who had been through so much and seen so many horrible things could write these amazing books and poetry. And it was sort of something that made me look at the written word a different way. And then from there, look at film a totally different way, and look at art in another way. It was just something that you know, art is many things, but it's just something that touches your heart that keeps you going. And it was just like that combination of all of those things. So, but you know, other than Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Blue Velvet, you know, it's just hard to see where you get inspiration from. I think it's just from everything around you.
Howard, a couple films that you can think of off the top of your head, and a good piece of art that you would treasure. Go ahead.
Well, let's start with the art. My art is in my living room. I have a Bun Gray painting that I actually bought from Bun Gray. Bun Gray was showed in the Walter Finley Gallery. Neil Simon, Marsha Mason had some of Bun Gray in their house. Elizabeth Taylor did, and I've got probably about 5 or 6 pieces in my house. And I think he kind of set the quality level, because I bought a painting even before I got married, and I kept it for years before I put a frame on it. And I'm one of those people, I'm like her in the shoes. I mean, I don't care what it costs. I'll just not eat. I'll do whatever. I get another job. I'll do whatever it takes to get whatever I want. So it's nothing I can't have. It's just a matter how long it's going to take for me to get it. So what was the other question? The question about what movie inspires me? I love the Twilight Zone. I mean, they would everything that, not the new Twilight Zone, but the old Twilight Zone TV show. All those things were so real and not so special effects and stuff. I mean, like when a kid dreams about falling under the bed, and in the Twilight Zone, you went through the wall and your parents could hear you and they couldn't get you out. I mean, kids think like that, and we all had those kind of dreams, but we never carried it to that far. Or like when the girl that was on Ellie Mae, and she thought she was ugly, and everybody around her is ugly, and she's the only pretty person, but she doesn't feel pretty because ugly is beautiful. I mean, it's just little things like, you know, just everything he did was just totally awesome. Totally awesome. I mean,
That was it, and
I
that's
love
why
the
during
also
COVID.
also
go
the
ahead,
other
Howard, go
one
ahead.
where the big tall alien comes in and he's got this How to Serve Man book.
How to Serve
And we all
Man.
thinking it's you know, this tells you how to feed everybody, how to make peace in the world and serve mankind. And they interpret the back of the book and they find out it's a cookbook. So they were fattening us up and eating us on their planet. That's what they meant when they How to Serve Man.
Felicia, you're next. But before, I'm going to give you a second before you come up with your movie titles. Is I went back during COVID and I watched. This is the best time to go back and watch Twilight Zones. I watched it from beginning to end. Even the one that was never shown that they had to take off because they thought it was too racist. The one with who? George Takaya. Remember that episode of him as a Japanese? That
Yeah.
one. And then and then this year, was it this year? Yeah, this year when I talked to William Shatner for a half an hour, I reminded him on the flight, the Twilight Zone's flight. And it was great because those things never go away. Never go away. All right, Felicia, now you're on. I gave you enough time to think about some films. And Terri, you're next. Go ahead.
Yes, you gave me plenty of time. Thank you. So it might surprise you guys, but I'm a serious sci-fi nerd at heart. I absolutely love Star Wars. We were in Seaside, Florida, and they showed it out in the amphitheater, and we're all sitting in the grass. And as soon as I heard the music, I got chills. I also love what was that one with Matthew McConaughey where he it's futuristic and he goes off just beyond space. You either hated it or loved it.
I know what you're talking about. I saw it. It's not Interstellar, but it's something like that.
Interstellar. Yes, Brian.
I think so.
Loved the part where he's watching the backlog 40-year videos of his kids because he's in a different time and he's sobbing. I thought that was incredible acting. I'm sobbing with Matthew McConaughey. So I thought it was amazing. But anyway, I love those. And let's see what else. Oh, a new one, you guys. Have you seen All the Light We Cannot See?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Awesome. It's awesome. I don't want to give anything away. I think it's still in theaters. Angela,
it's on, now you can see it. It's on Netflix now.
It's on Netflix now, yeah.
Oh, what am I saying? Netflix. Yes, of course. Netflix. It's amazing. Did you like it, Angela?
But you can't really talk about it.
Exactly.
I know. We can't talk about it.
All we can do is recommend it. All right. So, Felicia, give your social media links. We got about 2 minutes left. Go for it.
What did you say? I can't hear you.
Your social media links.
Give them to you? Okay. I put them in the chat. imdb.me.
Yep.
/Felicia Andes. And we're going to launch Knoxville Whiffed under my beautiful Linda Evgen of Nashville Whiffed, who's my angel, and myself and Sunshine Dawn Brasher and Marsha O'Keefe are launching in June. And you can check us out at www.knoxvillewhiffed.org. Yes. So there's a shout out, and also a shout out to Kurt Willis and the Visit Knoxville. The Knox Film Fest was amazing at Regal Riviera. You can check all that out at www.visitknoxville.com.
Howard Wiggins, social media links.
Howard Wiggins Facebook and Howard Wiggins Twitter. Plain and simple.
Social media links.
IMDb, Angela Romeo. And at Angela's Domain on X.
Gabrielle, social media links, how people can reach out to you.
Yes, through our webpage, www.onixfilms.com, then on Facebook, but I'm not very active, I must say, Gabriel Baur. And of course, the US distributor First Run Features, important to connect, because there are also other films like Venus Boys and to stream. And yes, I don't know. Yeah, that's about it.
Terri Marie, give us 2 movies really quickly and social media links.
Oh gosh, there's so many movies. I like horror movies and I like comedy movies. I'll say the horror movie that freaked me out as a kid was Burnt Offerings, and one of my that was like my favorite horror movie. And then my probably one of my favorite comedies is Better Off Dead with John Cusack from the 80s. That movie's hysterical. So anyway, I'm a big Pretty in Pink, those kind of movies. Social media is Terri Marie nonstop on all platforms, and then terrimarieofficial.com.
And I want to thank everybody for coming on, because it's not always easy, especially when you book way in advance, or I'm trying to beg someone like Angela to come on, who I adore. But it's one of those things where, thank you for everybody. This is the last show of the year. We started next year, January 2nd, keeping our live streak going. We'll be 81 straight shows live in a row at that point. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night tonight. A better day tomorrow. Just be a heart like Howard. Give them one of yours, because the world needs it. And merci beaucoup to everybody. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Merci beaucoup.
See you next year.
Thank you. Thank you.